I got a bunch of random thoughts. Actually, I only got a couple random thoughts. One of them's going to be this whole theme of how do you build? How do you get what you want in life? That's what I'm trying to get at. And let me tell you something. I got a picture. I just went down last day and spent a couple of days staying in the Watergate, the infamous Watergate Hotel, and next door is the Kennedy Center. And I went to a couple of plays and a couple of nights in a row. And I know you've all heard the story that back when I was making big money in my swim pool company, I had box seats at this Kennedy Center, and I used to sit in the box seat thinking, and this was two away from the vice president's box, so it was just off center, thinking that anybody in the world would think they've made it and that this is like the pinnacle of making it, and I should be so happy, but I sat in those freaking box seats miserable. I never even knew why. I've been carrying this around since 1990. So for whatever, 35, 37, 38, 40 years, whatever it's been, I could never figure out why in the hell I was sitting in the box seat watching these top tier shows and just not happy. And I went back this past week and I had the most fabulous time. And all I could come up with is I wasn't ready for it. Maybe I got rich too fast. I didn't feel like I deserved to be there. I felt like I was maybe spending too much money. I'm sure there's a lot of this shit going on in my head. But it comes down to that old saying that you hear over and over and over that the teacher will only show up when the student is actually ready to listen. It's no different than the CSA or any other self-help group or AA meeting you might stumble into. If you're ready to hear the message and ready to change, truly change, then happen for you the way you want it to happen. And I've been waiting 40 years to go back into the Kennedy Center and actually have a really positive experience. And I had it last week and it was fantastic. And I was just sitting there going, I pissed away. I think we had box seats tickets for 3 years in a row. And I think I had a miserable time 90% of the time doing that. So, anyways, if you ever find yourself in the chat box, here we go. Maybe wake up and put something in the chat box. You ever find yourself in a good situation, but inside you're just not happy? Has that ever happened to you, or am I the only guy sitting in the box seat, quote unquote, in an unhappy frame of mind? Anybody else have that same thing? Maybe it just wasn't me back then, and maybe it is me now. I have no idea. But it was just a weird experience, and I thought I would just share it with you. So we get in this unhappy. We're talking about building your business and finding the golden child and all this stuff in business. And you're floundering and you joined the CSA. When you first joined the CSA, you thought you were joining just to learn sales, maybe a little bit about business. And you came in with the mindset probably that you were fighting for, to save your business. Because if you kept up the stuff you're going to do, you were going to go out of business. But what you're finding truly, if you embrace what we're all saying, is you're here to save your life. This this whole thing that Ed Milet said about uh, it's a personal improvement program. That's what you being an entrepreneur is all about. That's what Andy's going through. That's what Rachel's going through. It's all about personal improvement. It is not, okay, strictly just a business thing. You heard her say this is not a money thing. She wants growth. She wants to know she's a part of something. She wants to know that there's something at the end, a greater good at the end of all this for her, more so than just money. So this whole mindset that, because when you get from the bridge to us, we just delve deeply into mindset. And I think life truly is just 10% what happens to you and 90% of how you deal with all the shit that goes down. Okay. And when you start to get your mind right and wrap it around in the right way with all this stuff, then life really starts to improve. You can run one or two kind of businesses. Okay. You can either stay the same or you can change. You've heard me say many, many times that the business owner, I'm just going to throw Andy out all day because Andy was here and he showed up for the meeting, to give the webinar. He's not, I know him and I know his business and I know he stumbled, man. He had some problems, but he changed and hired Rachel. And now his business is on a totally different trajectory. It's almost like she was a shot of goodness that came into his company. Can you buy into that? That is a shot, a hope shot of goodness that comes into your company and helps you turn things around. It gives you a reason, a kick-ass reason. I know a lot of you have a lot of good people, or you're trying to develop good people, but you are one person away. How many of you actually feel like you are one person away from being a killer company? One person. I talk to a lot of you out there that are struggling, and you're talking to me about how to build the team. How do I get where I want to go? And I say, look, it starts with one person. In my case, I found two, but it starts with one person. You got to find that one person, okay? And you're the only one that can do it because you have to change. You got to change just your outlook. When you hire that person, you heard what Andy was doing. He tells her everything. They go on the consultations together. I mean, when it's mundane shit about trucks and he was getting pissed off about having vehicle issues, he has to tell her what he's thinking so she understands all that stuff because she doesn't understand that stuff. Because surely we all know the one thing, man, if you do the same stuff, you're going to get the same result. So you have to change. And I'm just going to use Andy because I know Andy and he's a pretty stubborn guy. And when he got her, it was really iffy. And when he hired her, his top person was James. Y'all remember James? If you were in this group, he had a top guy, top salesman, top everything. Well, now James started his own company that Andy is a part of, and James still sells for RNA, but he's brought in Rachel to start with the operations of the thing. So he feels like he's on his way to having his golden child, his person that can run this show. And who wouldn't want that? I mean, I asked you before, is that your goal to find someone to run your show one day? Whether you sell it to them or not, to find someone who can run the show without you, isn't that our goal? We all talk about, having a franchise, McDonald's business. So John says, what happened to the other guy, Andy? He's still around. You're talking about James. James is around. He runs his own operation that Andy's involved with, and he also sells for RNA, and RNA does all the install work for the landscaping side. So a lot of this, I gotta move some windows around because I want to read that. This is something Tom Deek put on our Facebook page. He hears and reads and sees the same posts that I do about whatever's going on in our heads and struggling in a business. And by the way, this communication thing they're talking about, how they talk all the time, well, that's how you're going to get better too, by communicating with our group and getting a true response back from the group. And here's Tom's response back to, I don't know, one, two, or many people just opening up about how they're struggling in their business. And I'm just going to read it out loud. For those of you who are struggling with their direction in life, remember this: you are created to flourish in life, not simply survive. You need to wake up every day and tell yourself that today is going to be a great day, and then go out and make that day a great day. Flood your mind with positive affirmations daily, hourly if necessary, and then witness the transformation from the ordinary to the extraordinary. Surviving, simply surviving, is not your business model. Thriving should be your business model. Now, I ask you, honest opinion, chat box, do you think this is a bunch of crap? Do you think what I just read, what Tom wrote, is a bunch of crap? Or do you think this stuff is true? I'm telling you, from a guy living through this stuff, this is not a bunch of crap. Okay? I had this whole epiphany of mine 7 years ago. And I'm telling you, if you think positively and get rid of the negative, you can change everything. I remember when I was first started making big money in the pond business, probably somewhere around the late 80s, I was making more money than probably my entire family put together. And my sister also, her name is Sally, she married a very wealthy guy. So the two of us had money, and we were talking, and I was telling her that I feel guilty in the family. I feel guilty having all this money in my family when the rest of my family doesn't have money like I have money. And she stopped me in my tracks, and she says, Stephen, your your purpose on this planet, and this is exactly what she said, is to have your cup runneth over in everything you do. When it comes to making money, you want your cup to be full and running over. When it comes to being good and generous, you want that cup to be running over too. When it comes to being a good husband, a good father, a good friend, a good business owner, a good anything, you want your cup to runneth over. Who sets out to do, you know what? I'm going to be great in everything, but I want to be very average in the money making department so I don't feel so guilty around my family members? Is this a crazy thought I had in my head? Can you understand where I was at? It made sense to me. Your job, like Tom Deke says, your job is to flourish. That's your job, is to flourish. And you join this group because there's areas in your life that you are not flourishing. Now, better to flourish and have your cup runneth over, and then you decide what you want to do with all the excess if you feel like you got excess. Okay? But your job is not to struggle. Struggling is not a freaking business model. Capiche? So you got to ask yourself, are you the one holding yourself back? This thing, and I'm about to really beat up on myself here because I'm part of a weight loss or just get healthy kind of a group over here. Running the business is like being on a diet. When the potatoes come, the ice cream comes, all the bad stuff you shouldn't be eating or drinking comes, and you don't have the fortitude to decline that, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Okay? You're not going to achieve the goal that you want. You're not going to get the body that you want. You're not going to get the weight loss that you want. You're not going to get any of that stuff because you don't have the fortitude, as we talk about in personal integrity. And running a business is the same way. If you don't do all the little things when calling leads back timely, doing your QuickBooks stuff, just communicating, spending the time every single day to actually communicate with the people in your business or your fellow partners or at least your key people. When you don't do all those things and you don't have the fortitude to do that either, then you're not going to get the results in your business that you want. Okay? We've been calling it personal integrity. This was an Ed Milet thing, and I think it's fantastic. And it's just basically keeping the promises that you made to yourself. Okay? You want to do the right thing, whether someone's looking or not. And many, many times, I I went on a 30-day Whole Foods challenge where no drinking, no sodas, no sugar, no processed, no a whole lot of shit. Basically, just eat good, wholesome food. For 30 days, I lost 15 pounds. And I didn't cheat once because I didn't want to be a hypocrite, didn't want to look anybody in the face and go and leave this band of healthiness and just feel like crap inside. But boy, as soon as I got to day 31, whoo, okay. Now I don't have that on my monkey on my back. So I went right back, not quite back to my old ways, but pretty much back to my old ways. So in 2 weeks, I've gained 7 pounds back. So I'm doing in my health life what I'm telling you not to do. And all I could tell you is if I ran my goddamn business like I do my health life and yo-yo weight up and down, that when you yo-yo in your business, it's called bankruptcy, or it's called having your back up against a wall. It's called being in a very position, repeatedly over and over and over, like having a recession every freaking 2 or 3 years, and to the point where you're discouraged and you're thinking, what the hell am I doing this for? So I understand the struggle. You cannot tell me I don't understand the struggle, whether it's business. If I don't understand the struggle in weight loss, I am just like you. I just don't mess up in the financial area. That's it. Okay. There's more important things in life, by the way, which we're going to talk about in a second, but than just being having money. You got to have way more than just money.